everyone, welcome to another Drippy's Drive-In episode where we talk about movies that have a lot of water in them, or in this case, almost no water, because we're talking about
Dune
from 1984, directed by David Lynch, starring Kyle MacLachlan's hair,
amazing.
Patrick Stewart's bald head.
Still looks like Jean-Luc Picard.
And sounds like him too.
Age.
He looks great. And who else? Sean Young.
Beautiful.
We'll get to it. We'll list the whole. The star power in this movie is incredible, and that's why it's confusing that it's not that good. But first, I want to say it's come to my attention that in the past two episodes where we talked about Mutiny on the Bounty and Batman Begins, I've been very negative because I didn't like those movies. The difference is I actually like this movie. Do I think it's a good movie? No. I don't think it's a good movie. I don't recommend it to people, but I still love it. Mainly because of the costumes and the sets. I think those are gorgeous. And the actors do a good job with what they had to work with. But I'm going to be very positive this time, okay?
All right.
So you can be negative if you want, Michelle.
Probably going to be negative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, this is exciting because we've got a couple people calling in with their Dune opinions. And so we'll hear from other people besides me and Michelle.
Yeah.
And, okay, let's get started. Oh, yeah, so the first thing that we always say is that we didn't watch this movie at work, okay? We watched it on our own free time. We spent 2 hours and 17 minutes of our own free time that we're never getting back watching this movie and taking notes, okay?
I spent more of that because I kept falling asleep, and I'd have to restart and then rewind it to what I remember and then replay it again. So I probably dedicated like 4 hours of my life this weekend to this bad movie, but I do not regret it because it's interesting.
It's
interesting.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's not fun. We'll get into it.
Where do we want to start? By the way, I really appreciate your notes in the font that you used
Thank
for
you.
Dune. I like it.
It looks very Dune-y, right?
Yeah.
That was just on Google Docs.
I just like it.
So I think it's fair to say that I am a little more familiar with the Duneverse than you, right? Is that fair?
100%.
Okay. Because I've seen this movie a bunch of times, probably, I don't know, 20, 25 times, something like that. Who knows? I can't keep track. I've seen it a bunch. And I've read the behind-the-scenes book, The Making of Dune. I've read all the Frank Herbert books and one Brian Herbert book.
Didn't you go to some museum that had Dune?
Oh yeah,
I
went to the Pop Culture Museum in Seattle, and they had a bunch of Dune props and stuff.
Did they have the black suit?
Oh man, I don't remember.
Because that suit's amazing.
The still suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember actually. Yeah.
I bet they did.
I have the picture still, but
you're a huge Dune fan.
I'm a huge Dune fan. Okay, so I came into the Duneverse way back in, I don't remember the year, but I played a lot of Dune 2 on the computer, and that's where you're controlling one of the houses, and you're trying to build the best empire by harvesting spice, not getting eaten by worms, and vanquishing the other houses, right?
Yeah. Arrakis.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that name.
It's a cool name. A lot of cool names in this movie.
Got a lot of good language in here.
Yeah. Well,
Spice melange. Is melange a real word?
Yeah.
What is it? I need to look that
up. So we've got a library calling in a few minutes, and maybe they'll know what melange means, or they can look it up.
I can try to Google it.
No, don't Google it. We'll ask the library.
Okay. They only say it like twice, and then the rest of the time they refer to it as the spice.
We'll ask the library.
Yeah. That's what I was confused. Like, it's the spice melange. So it's like melange. That's the name. Like nutmeg spice, pumpkin spice. Like how descriptive. Like, I don't understand.
I thought that melange meant mixture. I don't know.
I don't know.
There's only one spice.
Yeah, and then they just call it spice the whole time. Yeah. I feel like there's a pumpkin spice joke in here somewhere, but I don't have the mental capacity to make it that.
This is a Monday morning.
Yeah, it's a Monday morning.
So
after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is the Monday after the Super Bowl. it's 9:21 right now. We're both still a little bit groggy. And also, I spent all day yesterday making a strawberry mousse, crushing the berries with my own two hands to get the juice out. And it was my entry in a dip bowl competition. Shout out to our friends Kara and Brandon for having a dip bowl and at their Super Bowl party. And I won 3rd place with my strawberry mousse dip and you dip it with chocolate graham crackers. And Allie, my wife, won 1st place for her Kansas City bacon jalapeno popper dip, which was it was better than mine.
It sounds amazing.
I just want to say, if there had been a sweet category, I think I would have taken home the gold.
Yeah,
she got a golden potato chip was her on a frame. It was a very beautiful trophy that I think Brandon made. But yeah, so I really wanted to win that. I didn't come away with the victory this time, but next time if they have a sweet category, I think I'll win.
Yeah, I was like, that was very adventurous going for sweet for a dip because I don't normally think of sweet as a dip.
That's what I was thinking.
I applaud that.
I was thinking, let me subvert this dip genre because everybody's going to have bacon, sausage, cream cheese. Yeah, exactly. So I thought, let me really get in under the radar, and it didn't work. But enough people liked it where I got 3rd place.
Can I ask you 3rd out of what? Is that?
I think.
Was it over 10?
At least 9.
Okay, then that's decent.
Yeah, there might have been 10.
I was like, if it's 3 out of 5.
There were a lot of people at this party, and I think pretty much all of them brought a dip.
That's cool.
So the Perkins house did pretty well. I also got 3rd place in a football guessing game, which I just randomly chose everything because I don't know anything about football. And I got 3rd place in that too. So 2 3rd place loser trophies.
Nice.
Thank you. So that's why we're so tired. Let's get into it. 137-minute runtime. And just like Mutiny on the Bounty, you feel every one of those minutes.
You really do.
It is so slow. I forgot that I'm supposed to be positive. It's
a long plus 2 hours.
It's a long movie, and because the book is long, and so he tried to fit all that information and all those characters into a 2 hour and 17-minute movie.
And you can tell.
Yeah.
Like it's choppy.
If they made this movie today,
around.
Which they are making it today.
Yeah. Is it
as we speak?
Chalamet or Chalet is going to be in it?
I don't know who he is. I don't know how to say his name.
He has great hair.
He has great hair.
Oh my gosh. They picked a guy with great hair because Kyle MacLachlan had great hair. They couldn't break that.
They picked a skinny little guy with
great hair.
Great hair.
You got it. You have to keep it going. His hair is so distracting, by the way. I'm sorry. I don't know if we're going to get into that conversation. His hair, stunning. Sorry.
Let's just start with a short little synopsis of what's because so since I know what's going on in this movie basically, and in the Duneverse as a whole, I'd like to hear from you a little synopsis of what happened in this movie, just what you think happened.
Okay.
This is going to be good.
Yeah, because there's a lot going on in this movie, and I had to keep backing up. And I even Googled the synopsis on Wikipedia, and even that's super convoluted.
Yeah, it's long. Let me just say real quick.
Yes.
I also looked up some IMDb trivia, like we do. And one of the things that I found surprising was that, but not surprising at all really, was that during the movie's original release, they handed out cheat sheets to people going to the movie to have obscure vocabulary and stuff for them to understand what was happening. So that tells crazy.
You everything.
If you have to do that for your movie, it's not a good movie. I'm being positive. Go ahead, Michelle. Sorry.
No, that explains everything. I mean, is that why they have a freaking diagram at the very beginning, which I thought was genius?
Yeah, the very beginning starts out, they really front load a lot of information on you at the very beginning in a very ham-fisted way. They have Virginia Madsen playing Princess Irulan. She's the daughter of the emperor, right? Just giving you a lot of info.
Yes.
And you feel like you should take notes. It's crazy. And then it's just her face on a star field. And then at one point, you're like, oh, how long is this going to go on?
Yeah.
And then she actually disappears. And then
they throw up
reappears.
The planets.
Well, she goes away. She disappears. And you think, oh, thank God, it's over. And then she reappears and she actually says, oh, I forgot to tell you. Yeah. And she goes on this other whole thing. So that's how they introduce you to the world of Dune. I don't know how... It seems like a very old-fashioned thing. Like, I think in this new Dune, they're probably just going to drop you right in the middle.
And you got to figure it out.
And you just got to figure it out. I think they'll I think it'll be longer than this movie because that's what we're doing today. We're making long movies. But I think it'll do a better job of explaining the world than they did.
So was that thing a thing back then? So wait, this movie was released in 84. Mm-hmm. Star Wars was released, first one 77, and then the last one was 83. Mm-hmm. You know, and they always started off with the episode blah, 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 kind of reorienting you. Was that a thing back then? Were they kind of giving their spin on orienting you into this complex space saga?
So George Lucas, was very influenced by this old serials like Flash Gordon or whatever.
Okay.
And, like it would just be this short little episode and it would always end on a cliffhanger. And so at the beginning of each episode, they would do like this scrolling thing, just like George Lucas does, telling you this is what's happening because so much has happened.
Drop you in.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So just like Star Wars. And speaking of Star Wars, David Lynch was originally approached to direct Return of the Jedi and turned it down to direct this movie. He said it was too much. He said, "Hey Georgie, this is your thing. It's not my thing." That's a direct quote. And then he went off to do Dune. Anyway,
interesting.
Pretty cool. I don't know what Return of the Jedi would have been like with him at the helm.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Ugh.
Yeah, that's exactly the sound I was going to make. Ugh.
Don't know about that. All right, so you want my synopsis of what I think it is? You still want me to try?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay.
And this isn't to make fun of you. I'm just
Actually,
I'm just interested in what other people see.
Grasp out of it.
Yeah, just from coming at it from your perspective. Because what you're so like deep in the weeds with it. It's hard to see what somebody who's kind of I wouldn't say first viewing, but second viewing. Might as well be first for all the help it gives you.
Anyway. Yeah, exactly. So the gist that I understand is that we have a planet, Arrakis, that has this product called spice. It's the only place in the universe. It's essential to time travel, gives you kind of these metaphysical abilities, and everybody wants it and needs it. And basically, whoever controls it essentially has control over the universe. And so we have an emperor. So there's the people with the Baron, the Harkonnens, Harkonians, sorry. They're in control of the spice. And then the emperor puts what are the other guys?
The Atreides.
Yeah, the Atreides. I already forgot all the names. I just watched it last night. Puts the Atreides or decides to put them in charge, but it's a sabotage.
Yeah, that's
because they want the leader of the Atreides dead.
They just want to get rid of him.
Yeah. That's the gist. That's about what I got. I feel like there's a lot of other little small subplots, but that's the gist of it for me.
Yeah. That's
Who was that weird floating whale thing?
So let's get right into it.
What is that? I don't think I ever figured that out.
That's the first scene in the movie after the long exposition at the beginning.
Yes.
That guy is all the guys in the black costumes and that guy floating in the tank, he's a spacing guild navigator, and the spacing guild is basically has almost like a mafia like control over travel in the little universe.
Okay.
Because those guild navigators have taken so much spice and they have to live. The reason he's in that tank is because he's living in a spice atmosphere, right? He has to have it.
Okay.
And that helps him see the future. And that's the only way they can safely travel through. They fold space. It's like they're going through like almost like a wormhole.
Yeah.
And so that's the only way to safely do it is to have these guys see the future. And so because of that, because they're the only ones who can do it, who can do quick space travel, they have a big almost control over the emperor himself because he relies on them to get around in his
do his emperor
kingdom,
thing.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's why he's kind of scared of them when they're coming in. They make him get rid of his advisor.
Yeah.
Because she can read minds.
Yeah.
Wanting her around. And so so that guy is like a Spacing Guild navigator, is a big wig.
Do the books go into like where they come from?
Well,
like their kind of backstory a little bit more. Do you remember?
It's been a while since I've read them.
Or that whale thing, was that whale thing more like the humans that are with him, or is he a completely different species thing? Because he is like crazy looking.
I don't want any Dune fans to get mad at me, but I think that, and I'm not going to look it up either. So this is just what I think. But I think that the guy floating around the tank, the guild navigator, I think at one point he was a human, and he's taken so much spice, he's slowly evolved, because it also prolongs your life. So we'll just say there's going to be a little cut, everybody, because Brent and Aaron from the Garland County Library called in, and we talked to them for a while, so we're going to put that call at the end. So we're going to get back to our little synopsis review, or whatever of Dune.
Our discussion.
And so stay tuned at the end for some phone calls and interviews with other people who have very strong opinions about this movie.
Yes.
You don't want to miss that. So they had the meeting, the Spacing Guild meeting with the Emperor, okay? And I explained how they're like a mafia, and he's kind of scared of them. And then I think it goes right to the Atreides home planet of Caladan, which is the exact opposite of Dune, where there's like the whole time, every scene, it's raining, there's big waves, it's gloomy. So the exact opposite of what they have to move to on Dune. I just thought that was neat.
Yes, they're like, we're going to miss these views, miss this water.
Mm-hmm. And there's the famous scene where Paul puts his hand in the box of pain or whatever to see if he can pass the test. And then there's a very long scene of him fighting some weird robot things. And then fighting Patrick Stewart in a 1984 CG computer box.
It's amazing.
It's really weird.
I'm guessing that's a part of the book. Like they didn't invent that.
They're shields, right? Like, and but everybody knows the way to get through a shield is just to push the knife real slow. Because remember,
and then he's like, I could have killed you, or blah blah blah.
And then it
would have been a lesson.
Patrick Stewart's got his knife right up against him too. So whatever.
Yeah.
Also, let's talk about the star power in this movie. Let's list all the famous people that we love. Okay, just talking about that scene, we've got Patrick Stewart. Amazing. He's a
doesn't
world
age
treasure.
Yes.
Kyle MacLachlan is the same. He's a wonderful person. He's a treasure. They both still look great. Kyle MacLachlan still has his amazing hair.
Yeah.
Still looks wonderful, and he's really funny. Also, in that scene, you have Dean Stockwell from Quantum Leap, one of my favorite shows. Then we have Paul's dad is played by Jürgen Prochnow. I think I'm saying that right. A German actor, famous for Das Boot, the 4-hour German submarine movie. Oh,
missed that one. Darn.
Yeah, we should do that one.
It's in water.
Who else is in this movie? Sean Young.
Yes.
Everett McGill, Max von Sydow. Right?
Yeah. Oh, hello. We're missing the big one. Sting.
Yeah, Sting.
Gosh.
So I watched this with Allie, and the first time you see Sting, I talk about him. I say, we watched it together, and I said something about, look, there's Sting or something. And then the whole rest of the movie goes by, and I guess she thought I was kidding that was Sting.
Oh.
And then
at the end, they show the credits. Movie, they say Sting.
Yeah, at the end, they show Sting's picture, and they say Sting. And she was like, wait, that was really Sting? And I said, yeah, did you think I was joking? But I guess he's not famous for being an actor, really.
Yeah. So was this like a phase? Did he go through an acting phase? Do we know?
I was wondering that, too.
Or was he pulling his star power? You know how we see that every now and then where was he trying to pull a Justin Timberlake and like, I'm now into acting.
I was wondering that myself.
Because I've conquered music.
Is he in any other movie?
I don't know.
Let us know.
I'm sure, we could IMDb it, but why would we want to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing. Is he an active actor right now? The answer is no. So, yeah.
But I think he did a good job. He played an evil guy real well.
It was a very difficult role.
It's a problematic role.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
We don't have to get into too much detail, but
some things in this movie did not age well.
If you didn't, that would never be
that would not fly today.
cool. But
and it shouldn't have flown then, and it wouldn't fly today. And thank
you know
goodness.
what, Michelle, your favorite thing is Game of Thrones, and there's a lot of incest in that. So I'm just gonna put that out there.
You know what? That is very true, and it makes me uncomfortable. Does that make you feel better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad that it makes you uncomfortable.
It does make me uncomfortable. All of it does.
So, in case you weren't paying too close attention when you watched this movie, Sting is the Baron's nephew, Baron Harkonnen, and the Baron's kind of in love with Sting.
Yeah.
In a weird, in a way, right?
Yeah. You know what I felt bad for? The other nephew, like they kind of compare them to each other, and one Sting and one said other guy. I mean, if you were the other nephew and you looked at freaking Sting, like your counterpart, would you just be like, I give up on life? Really? That's my competition?
The other guy.
That guy who's stunning.
We've got Sting who doesn't have an ounce of fat on his body.
No.
And they show that very clearly in a later scene.
They do.
And then you've got his brother, I guess, who's this giant man who's sitting next to Sting and crushes a mouse in a little juice box and then drinks the mouse's blood. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt really bad for that actor. Like, I bet he went home and cried at night. Like, I get to play opposite Sting. I get to be the counter to Sting. Well, I get to be the opposite of everything that is good looking and attractive.
So from what I heard, that guy was a little bit of a prankster and like a little bit of a fan of grossing people out. And do you remember that scene where there's a dead cow hanging in the spaceship?
Yes.
And he runs up and grabs a piece of it and eats it. That was a real frozen dead cow that he actually ate a piece of. So I thought it was it looks fake. It looks like a fake hollow cow, but it's a real cow that he actually ate a piece of. And also, talking about Sting, there's a really great IMDb fact, probably my favorite one that I found, is Sir Patrick Stewart at the time was completely unfamiliar about who Sting was as a musician. And when he met him on set, he asked if he was a solo artist, and Sting replied that he was in a band called The Police. And Patrick Stewart was like totally oblivious, and he thought that Sting was a policeman who played in a police person's band.
Wow.
So anyway, that's just...
That kind of makes me question Patrick Stewart a little bit.
He was a Shakespearean actor. He doesn't have time to listen to pop music.
I guess.
That was when they were like the biggest.
I was going to say, weren't they huge?
Yeah, they're huge.
This is like prime.
84?
That's why I think he got that role, right? And he just probably was like...
Yeah, he probably just walked onto the set and said, I'm going to be this guy.
Yep.
So that's a fun fact.
Oh, can we talk about the fact, all this whispering under our breath and stuff? Like we hear their internal monologue. And like sometimes it's their internal monologue, and then sometimes they're communicating with each other, and it's all in this hushed voice.
Yeah.
The spice. He's not telling me about the spice.
They say a lot of things that I feel don't really need to be said.
Watch this with closed captions, by the way.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, you really do. You need to pick up all that extra.
Well, like just for example, you can hear everybody's thoughts the whole time.
Yes.
And so just an example of things that are unnecessary is there's a lot of poison in this movie. And every time there's a poisoned blade, which happens a lot.
Yes.
Paul Atreides says in his whisper inside voice, a poisoned blade. Like, okay, who cares?
Duh.
It's still a blade. He's still trying to stab you. What does it matter if it's poison?
It'll kill you. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so if you hear hushed tones, it's their inner monologue.
Yeah.
Or they might be telepathically communicating with somebody else, because several of them have that ability.
Well, the weird thing is, it's not just a couple of main characters who you can hear their thoughts. It's like every single character. It's like, okay,
it's kind of
just don't need to know this.
Distracting.
Yeah. It's weird.
But I appreciate it's odd. It's weird.
He probably thought that he had to do that because it's such a dense movie. He probably thought he had to say, this is this character's motivations. This character's just gonna say it, what he's thinking.
Yeah.
So we can get it all out there.
That has to be the thought behind it.
That's what I imagine anyway. So they moved to Arrakis because, like Michelle said, the Emperor and the Spacing Guild and the Harkonnens are all in league against the Atreides, and they're trying to get rid of them. So they give the Atreides, the Emperor takes away Arrakis from the Harkonnens and gives it to the Atreides. So now they're in charge of the Spice Planet, right? And so they move to Dune, Arrakis. And one of the first scenes on there is all the Atreides troops lining up, and they're all filling up their little water bottles, and there's a guy on the announcer saying that it's everybody's job to conserve water. Water is life.
Yes.
And that was pretty cool. That's kind of what our message that we talk about every day.
Yeah.
And hearing it in Dune was pretty cool. So then pretty quickly they go out into the desert to take a look at the spice mining operations to see what they got. And before they go out, they have to put on these suits that are called still suits. And they look like they're made out of like black rubber bicycle tires.
They are amazing.
They're really cool.
Way ahead of their time.
And
I want to dress like this every day.
Well, how it works is I've always wanted to make one for Halloween costume.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
It'd be super cool.
Because it gives you abs.
Yeah, it does. It gives you kind of muscles everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. And so how it works is it completely like seals in your body. So you're sweating into this suit and it captures all that sweat. And they say it separates out the salt, and then the water gets stored in these little catch pockets, which he points to the abs on that. So those are just water pockets. And then you drink out of a straw, and you also keep a nose thing in your nose, and you're supposed to breathe in through your mouth and out your nose, so that all the moisture goes back into that nose tube and gets recaptured in the suit.
That nose tube makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I already started getting claustrophobic just thinking about breathing through that thing. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, with my allergies, I can barely breathe through my nose on a good day. So the
suit like has its own treatment plant, right?
Yeah.
It's like a desal plant basically going on.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat.
Your water's going to be desaled, all right, and it's also going to be hot and warm.
Yeah, but that's the only way you can survive out in the environment of Dune. Because moisture and water is such a critical. I mean, we have to physically harvest it from your body to reuse it. And by the way, John Michael's glossing over the fact that they talk about, this was my first thought when I heard this, feces and urine. So I'm like, do you poop in the thing? Did you catch that? I
remember him talking about that.
Oh, yes, they did.
I believe you.
They say feces and urine, and it captures that, and it does something in the thigh pads or something. And I immediately, I swear, go back, and I immediately thought, so you poop on yourself? Like what?
Did you watch the director's cut or something?
No. I'm telling you, closed caption, you catch all these little tiny details.
I was paying attention to this movie. That's weird.
Yes, I swear, trust me, it's seared in my brain.
I believe you.
Feces and urine, because that was my first question. So they poop in these things.
But you actually hear distinguished actor Max von Sydow say feces and urine.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
And it's somehow processed in the thigh area.
Because you can't take it off, because then all the water would escape.
I was going to say, yeah.
So,
do you go and squat in a corner? You just stay there like a child looking you dead in the eye and just go?
That's what Carrie does to us. He looks you right in the eyes, and his eyes will start to
water.
water.
Tits up a little bit.
Grunting went out.
I feel like that's a lot to overcome. And then you got to take that suit off and be like a normal human being and go to a toilet. That's asking too much. Sorry.
Well, so
I'm in the water conservation, but I think a lot about wastewater.
Yeah, we have to.
So I'd like to think about both sides of the water industry.
That's good.
Like drinking and then how we get rid of it.
I'm glad you caught that, because it's a water treatment plant and a wastewater treatment plant all in one suit.
Yeah,
so
it's like a complete cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but another thing that Max von Sydow says is that they can survive in the desert for weeks without any new water intake. Yeah. You're just surviving off that old sweat. So, but anyway, that's what you have to do, since there's never any rain on Dune.
Yet.
So
not rain yet.
Duncan, Idaho. By the way, is that a cool name, or do you think it's lame?
Okay, so like in isolation, it's cool. Like if you were to say, "Hey, that's my kid, Duncan, Idaho," it'd be like interesting. But on this,
it's a little out of place, right?
It's out of place. Arrakis.
Yeah.
The Baron.
Yeah.
Duncan, Idaho. It'd be like, it's like that Game of Thrones character. Oh, I'm going to mess it up. And it's like you have all these kind of like regal names, and it's like, this is, Tim. Like what? Tim? Are you serious? I can't remember. It was at the end. They introduced some character, and he has like a very common name, and everybody else, like it's common and modern, and it just is really out of place with all the other characters' names. Like it's jarring. Like, I just remember making several comments. Obviously, can't remember the name right now. And it's just jarring. So to me, it's a jarring name. Like in this universe, it doesn't fit. But as isolation, it's cool.
I agree. It sounds, there's something about it that sounds cool, but I agree. It's out of place. It's very American sounding and very frozen potato brand sounding to me.
Yeah.
I'd eat some Dunkin' Idaho curly fries, you know?
Throw it in the oven, 400 degrees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You worked all day. You don't need to spend a lot of time making dinner. You throw your Dunkin' Idahos into the oven, 400 degrees, 20 minutes. Wait until they're golden brown.
Get some ketchup. Good to go.
Serve while they're hot. But the reason I brought him up is because he says he's been on the planet. He works for the Atreides, and he's been on the planet for a while, sort of scouting out. And he says he believes that the Fremen, which are the people sort of native to Dune, exist in vast numbers. And because everybody thinks, oh, there's just a few of them because, you know, they only ever see a few at a time. But he thinks they exist in vast numbers, but he's not sure. And so I was wondering, what do they eat? Because there's no animals running around. There's nothing grows. You never see anybody eat in this entire movie. I don't think.
I never picked up on that.
Except when that guy eats the mouse blood, and when that same guy also eats the cow tongue.
But they're also from another planet, so
anybody else, you don't see them sit down to meals. Nothing.
So they're eating. I got it. They're eating the reprocessed urine and feces.
Okay.
Yeah, that's there. Solved.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
That's it. That answered my question. I'm going to mark that off my list here.
Because they're all in the suits too, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned that. They're all in the suits, right? The Fremen? Yeah. They all wear those,
They
all wear.
You never see them out of it.
Yeah, they're all in the suits. So they're peeing and pooping on themselves. No need to potty train the children.
I just remembered. So when Paul and his mom get to the Fremen cave, they say, what do you want to be called? Real quick. They're like, what's your nickname going to be? And they don't even know him. And he says, what's the mouse shadow in your second moon? And they say, it's Moadib, right? It's like that's the name they have for this desert mouse. So there are little mice running around, but a whole civilizations can't survive eating mice.
Doesn't he space out at this point somewhere? He spaces out. He starts having these daydreams.
Yeah, he has visions. Yeah,
like these visions. Yeah. The spice makes him have visions.
Yeah. So we kind of skipped over this, but the Harkonnens take over Paul and
they sabotage.
Yeah, there's a traitor. We won't spoil who it is.
Yeah.
It's Dean Stockwell from Quantum Leap.
The dad dies.
The dad dies.
Yeah. And the traitor feels a little bad that he did that. So he's like, I'm not going to kill Paul and his mom.
Yeah.
Because I know you guys, but I'm going to cast you out into the desert with these suits and good luck to you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so they start flying their little thing and they crash and they end up in the Fremen siege is what they call it. It's like a cave. And they quickly find out it's pretty crazy how quick the Fremen are like, okay, you guys are cool. Yeah. You can live with us. It's like maybe 45 seconds.
They're all like, you have special powers and we've had like, what is it, lore of a messiah and you kind of are starting to fit the bill. So come on. Come on in.
Here's a little bit of like a Star Wars thing is that Paul and his mom both have this thing they call the voice, which when you use this voice on people, you can control their actions. You can
these are not the droids you're looking for.
Exactly. It's like the Jedi mind trick. So that's a little thing.
By the way, was it distracting to you, like how clearly, like, I'm sorry, we're not going to look this up, but Kyle MacLachlan and the actress that plays his mom, they're clearly within close age proximity.
You think
like
so?
There's no, there's no way she was actually old enough to be his mom. This is a side note. It was distracting.
Well,
as a middle-aged woman, this is something that I look at commonly about not featuring women that are actually age appropriate in these roles.
When he filmed this, he was only 18 or 19. This was his first movie.
There's no way she was 40.
Okay.
In her late 30s. She was easily in her early 30s.
She looked like she was in her 30s to me, so if she was very
I don't know.
young,
she had that 80s makeup. 80s makeup ages you. Anyways, sidetrack.
And her hair.
Yeah. I thought it was very bold. Do you think she actually shaved it when she became like the queen?
Nah.
I think that was a little cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we didn't even mention that.
It was a good looking cap. Like all those.
It looked yeah.
So we didn't even talk about this, but there's a whole order of space witches called the Bene Gesserit, right? And so Paul's mom is one of these space witches, and they can control people's minds, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They have their own whole thing going
That's
on.
a whole nother side, complicated.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but they shave half their head, so it makes them look like they'll have giant foreheads.
Well, yeah, exactly. So yeah,
very bold look.
Shave the first half of their head.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, how did Paul's mom? She has great hair.
Yeah, how'd they allow her to keep her hair? Yeah, she doesn't shave it till the second half of the movie.
Well, that's when she becomes the Reverend Mother for the Fremen, right?
Okay, so that's how they swing that.
I guess maybe she was just like not. I don't know.
But every other one of those that you see has their head shaved, except for
and their eyebrows shaved. Did you notice that?
Oh no,
they do a good job making the eyebrows disappear. It looks pretty. Like the makeup is pretty good.
Pretty good, especially for considering it's the 80s.
Yeah,
yeah.
So when the Atreides get attacked by the Harkonnen and they retake over their old palace, one of my favorite. Now this is my favorite part of the movie, absolutely. And I've seen this movie a bunch of times, so I've never noticed this part before. But there's a little part, like you can see the Atreides have sort of a house mascot dog. It's a little pug, and it's with them in a lot of scenes.
Yes,
and
so weird.
When the Atreides palace is being stormed by the Harkonnen, you see this amazing scene where Patrick Stewart has the pug wrapped up in his jacket.
Hands, yes.
He's got it wrapped up in his jacket to keep it warm.
Swinging that dog around.
And he goes into battle. He yells, "Long live Duke Leto," and runs into battle with that little pug wrapped in his jacket. I thought, this is incredible.
Yeah. Why? Like this film would be completely okay without that dog in it. Why did they put the dog in there?
I love it.
Why? Does not play a role.
Maybe it's in the book. Maybe the dogs play a bigger role in the book. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like that's a liberty that if you wanted to take out would be, understandable.
But why do you want to take him out?
Because it's distracting. Like
how? I saw this movie a bunch of times and I didn't even notice the dog in Patrick Stewart's
I noticed the dog right away. Like space. We're gonna take a pug to space.
It's like
we're doing space travel. Okay, and we're gonna make sure to take our pug.
Here's an analogy. All the houses, the space parliament.
Yes.
They have their own banners and
so the
heraldry and all
pugs?
that stuff. No, I'm just saying that they've all got these family traditions, and maybe that's their family dog.
I don't know. It just to me,
we'll agree to disagree.
It's just it's very like grounding in like regular in real life, and it took me a little bit out of like the whole space thing.
What did you want? Did you want it to make it? Did you want them to make it look like a space dog with like these dumb ears, or make it green or something?
No animals in space. The end.
But they're in space. They're moving.
Then they need to be space animals.
They had that dog on their home planet.
I understand, and then they brought it.
And they brought it with them. They're moving their whole life. They have to take the dog.
Does the dog need the suit?
Yeah.
They don't sweat, right? How does that work?
Oh, yeah, that's a bad planet for a dog. What did you think? So we're talking about hair a lot, because there's a lot of great hair in this movie.
There is.
But what did you think of the Harkonnen sort of lackeys reverse mohawks?
Oh, atrocious.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, right?
Yeah, no thanks.
No thanks. That's all we have to say about that.
You're a bad guy.
You get it. We get it. You're bad. You're not good at haircuts. That's all. That's all we need to know. Just another way for them to make you hate them even more.
Yeah, they just pulled everything out of the book.
Yep. Yeah, pulled out all the stops. Let's see. So I mentioned in the books there's a lot of like state dinners and big parties and stuff. They skipped all that in this.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Well, one of the big things that they missed that I think is pretty cool is that they talk a lot about the customs on Dune and how when you have guests and come into your house, it's like the highest compliment a guest can pay you is for them to spit on your floor. It's like they're giving you their water, right? They're wasting it on this precious commodity on you by spitting on your floor.
No thanks.
Paul and his mom are in with the Fremen in their underground, and real quick they take them to their underground water reserves, and so they see, there's a lot of water on Dune. It's just hidden away by these Fremen.
They don't really explain too much. Like they try to get us to infer like how they got this, and then they talk about they use decaliters, if I recall correctly, and then they said that they have more and more of these, and they're all hidden in these underground tunnels or something along those lines, and not everybody knows where they are. Only a handful know where they all are. So we're supposed to think that they've just been keeping this cachet of water, and is it just there as a backup? Is it there if the suits go wrong? Is it?
Well, I think
it kind of sounded like they were storing it for a future purpose, was the impression that I got from the dialogue. But do they reveal that in the book at all? Or is it just like, water's important, water is life. We got these nifty suits that kind of help us circumvent the fact that this planet is a desert, at least on the surface. Yeah. But subsurface, we are collecting all of this water.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what their motivation is, but I think it's nice that they've got all this water, but they still choose to conserve their sweat water.
Yeah. Why they're thinking of the future.
Yeah, they're thinking ahead.
Yeah, and that's what you should do with conservation. Future planning. Yeah. As their population increases, what if they can't make suits? Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they want everybody to leave and to just leave them alone, so they can live their life in the desert with their worms, whatever.
Yeah.
But I do know that when a Fremen dies, they harvest the water from that body. Yeah. And so a lot of that is dead body water.
Yeah. Just for the record, we don't necessarily promote that level of conservation.
Yet. And
people get mad with twice a week watering. You got planets over here harvesting bodies for water.
You want to talk about our watering schedule?
No, twice a week.
Okay.
And even that.
Look it up.
Yeah, even that is always not necessarily. Really, most lawns can get away with once a week up until the most heated parts of the summer.
Yeah.
So
when I had a lawn, I never watered it. And it always grew back. It's fine. People. One thing I want to say, my least favorite, the suits look great. They look awesome.
Yeah. Way ahead of their time. If they were to design them now, like if you were to see them in movie today, you would not think like, oh, they came up with that in 1984.
Yeah.
You would be like, that's a cool suit.
Yeah. So there's so much well designed that I'm pretty sure in the new Dune they're going to look probably pretty.
They have to be similar. Yeah. They can't go too far.
But I do want to say the one thing I don't like about the Fremen is they are inconsistent with their blue computer eyes. Sometimes they just don't have them at all.
Yeah, apparently the spice changes your eye color and your whole like.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Your whole eye turns this really bright blue.
Blue.
And it's like it's cool, but it's a little distracting. And as we said earlier, they kind of seem to sometimes have people have it and sometimes them not.
They do some weird. They do some real close-ups of Sean Young's eyes, and the blue doesn't quite match.
Yeah.
It's sort of like overlapping, and you can kind of see it waver.
They probably won't have that problem in the new one.
I hope not. And then other times they don't have their blue eye thing at all.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they forget.
Technology is too expensive. They had to be selective.
I will say that there's a couple of mini-series that were made, like in the maybe late 90s, early 2000s. And they do a better job, even with that low-budget stuff, made for TV, right?
Huh.
With the eyes. So anyway,
yeah,
pretty sure they solved that. And then a lot of stuff happens.
Yeah. Well, do we talk about like Paul? So when they're there with the Fremen, slowly as they're around Paul, they realize that he's their Messiah.
Yeah.
The one they've been waiting for, the one that's going to give them back. They want back control of their planet. They want control of the spices their planet, and they want control.
I'm sure in the book it takes a lot longer, but in the movie
it is quick.
He is there for 5 minutes and like, okay, yeah, we're going to follow you into battle.
And they're like, so he trains them with his special Jedi mind tricks.
His weird gun that shoots out words.
They really call it the weirding way.
The weirding way.
Yeah, kind of like what?
No, I like it.
You'd like it?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And then he learns to ride sandworms.
Yeah.
He gets very like mission, like I must conquer the sandworm. I must do this.
They do like a little montage where they're training, kind of like right? And then next thing you know, he's riding a worm while a Toto song is playing in the background. And also, Brian Eno did the other.
Yeah, I was looking at that. We missed the whole thing of the water of life, that thing that they have to take. And
we didn't miss it.
Okay, it's coming up.
Which is like the water of life is worm bile.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's what they said.
Oh, I missed that.
And so it's like super concentrated with spice, and it'll kill most people. But since Paul is the special person, he takes it and he survives.
Yeah. Like people take it apparently, they make it sound like people take it all the time and die from it, but it's supposedly like if you survive it, you're some special holy person. Because his mom takes it when she becomes their little queen.
The Reverend Mother.
Yeah, and then he takes it, and that proves he's the...
And it gives him all these visions, and I think that's when his quest begins. And he's like, okay, now we're really going to
We're rocking and rolling. Yeah, that's right.
And, they're riding worms. He decides to get the Harkonnen, get revenge for his father, and get the Harkonnens out of there.
Yeah. And over 2 years, they slowly stop all spice production. But by the way, this 2 years, which is fine, spans like a minute on the screen. And they're like, they just slowly, and then apparently the Harkonnens are like, find ways to kind of cover up the fact that they know that the spice production is getting lower. But it gets to a point where the emperor finds out, like, or the guild finds out, right? Or the guild knows.
Oh, the emperor's mad too.
Yeah, they're all like, hey, the spices stopped.
Yeah, and so they all end up at Arrakis saying, hey, what's the deal? We need more spice. So Paul sort of has a chokehold on the spice so he can control. Because they always say in this movie, he who controls the spice controls the universe. And so...
Because he controls time travel.
Yep.
It takes a long time to get from one galaxy to another.
What do you mean time travel?
Isn't it time travel? I thought it was time travel.
It's like a hyperspace jump or whatever.
Okay. Well, okay, yeah. I guess time pretty much. You're right. Time travel is like going from different years. I misspoke. So getting into another movie.
I'm surprised that something in this movie confused you.
But basically they come back. There's a big war.
Yeah, they ride a worm into battle and they take back the palace. We should mention that Patrick Stewart disappears for a while.
Oh, yes.
And then he comes back. He just randomly sees Paul in the desert, and he's got this amazing mullet hairdo, and he joins Paul again, and it's great.
Yeah. Good little mini reunion there.
Yeah, nice.
And
we don't see the pug again. So
I was going to say, I don't think he had the pug on his chest. Didn't have
he
it in
might
his
have
little
been
baby
using
carrier.
that pug as a shield. Which it sounds like you hate the pug, so you'd probably be happy with that.
So I don't hate it. I just feel like it's misplaced. So it feels like a very abrupt end. Like you wait all this, we have this final battle, the Fremen win.
We forgot to mention that Paul's mom has a baby.
Oh yeah, that's really weird. The sister's weird.
She's real weird, and she grows faster because of all the spice that the mom takes.
Yeah.
And so she comes out of the womb, basically a space witch, and she has all these powers, and it's just funny to see her go and talk to the
adults and be all creepy with her blue eyes. And
so that's not really important, but we forgot to mention it.
It's an important. It's a little side plot for sure.
It's a fun part of it.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, and that's the end of the movie, basically.
The very last scene, which it ends. Okay, so I fell asleep on this movie multiple times. I fell asleep at the end. I'm not even joking, like 4 times.
This is another Mutiny on the Bounty for you.
Yeah, well, my problem is also I decide to watch these movies like right before bed, so I'm not doing myself any favors. However, it ends so abruptly. They win the thing, they win the war, they get back control, and then literally Kyle, is like looking up in the air. It begins to rain, which I guess is like the ultimate symbol that he was the chosen one, whatever. And it immediately cuts away, and it's like the actors in the following order. And it just, to me, it's really disassociating. I don't know. Maybe they should have just lingered a couple of seconds longer, or I guess that's just like he was the Messiah, but I kind of felt like we already knew that. I don't know. I really wanted to know what happened next, to be honest. But I get, or they started off with that little saying. It would have been a nice like little closure. You know, they started off with the explanation. Mm-hmm. It would have been nice to have been like, Paul commanded it for,
So they did have plans to make at least 2 more. And I think...
Okay, maybe that's what it was then.
David Lynch started working on the sequel, but this was such a financial flop that got scrapped. And he hated this movie. He won't really talk about it.
Wow.
He says it's like his biggest failure, even though out of all his movies, it made the most money. So
maybe he felt like the potential, you know, sometimes it was like he felt like it had so much potential and he didn't deliver on the potential.
He said he never should have been the director. Like, I think it just wasn't a good fit for him. And it's also, like we said, it's a very dense book and there's a lot going on and it's hard to make it into a just over 2-hour movie.
It's really interesting. Yeah. just when you try to make movies out of books and how they decide what to cut and how to cut it and how to condense all that plot line and which ones you get away from. That's hard. Like I think I would want that job, but because I think it'd be really interesting, but I can see how difficult it is to still kind of keep the essence of the book in the movie, but then stay true to the plot lines, but keep it under 2 hours.
You glossed over Sting's final appearance where he fights Kyle MacLachlan in a knife fight.
Oh, yeah. That was so lame.
Two of the cutest people in the whole movie fighting with knives. And Paul kills him, and then he does his weirding word thing and splits the ground and splits Sting open.
Yeah.
And that's when it starts to rain. So,
that's true.
Whatever. And then, at the end, all the people you see, it shows their faces and shows their names. And then it's on a backdrop of some like raging waves. I don't know why they did that. Yeah,
that was the other thing too. So that was my other thought. So the rain comes, so now we have water in Arrakis. Do we start getting oceans? Like again, so many questions. Very abrupt ending.
Would have all been answered by the sequel.
Yeah, and maybe they leaned too heavily on assumption that they were going to have a sequel to help. Mm-hmm. And we didn't. So overall, though, I think it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's dense. Again, having to watch it to talk about it, I didn't realize how much I did not get upon first viewing.
Yeah.
And the names, a lot of character lines. It's a like a cerebral, like it's trying to keep that on the line in your head. It's a lot. Usually when you're watching a sci-fi, doesn't have to be, but usually, it's kind of like one plot point and you're kind of getting from A to B, and it might be fun, but there's a lot of complex layers in here that you got to keep track of.
This plot doesn't fit in with
it's complex.
It's
just complex, and it's okay, but it's complex. You're going to be thinking in this movie. If you don't want to think, this is not. And I think what it is when I hear Dune, but maybe because I wasn't a book reader, and to be honest, didn't even know it was based on the book. I know. I wasn't thinking I didn't go into this thinking I can't wait to see all these 6 different plot lines intertwine. I'm just I'm here to watch this quirky sci-fi movie. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? So I came at it from a very different place than you did, who knew the book existed, who read the book, have read all the books, and knew what you were getting into.
If you don't want to watch a movie where you have to think, then go watch Sleepless in Seattle, okay? Which I also love.
Well, there's different there's thinking movies that make you think, and then there's trying to keep track of plot points. This is this one. You're not pondering existence in this movie, which I love to do in movies. You're keeping track of plot lines, and that's
you need to be making your own.
You need
chart.
Notes. You need a chalkboard.
Yeah,
and points.
Like when I read Game of Thrones, I made a chart on my wall where this person killed this person. This person's
you're inspiring me.
Related to this person. Just the first book, and
this
then
is kind of nerd stuff I love.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun.
I admire from afar.
Help me keep track because
it's too much.
Too much.
Yeah.
So we'll get a couple more fun facts, I think.
Okay. I actually have to leave in 2 minutes.
Okay. Oh, so the suits worn by the guild members at the beginning were actually old body bags that were found in an abandoned fire station that dated back to the early 1920s.
Whoa.
And the bags had been used several times to hold dead bodies. And they didn't tell any of the actors who had to wear them that, obviously.
Yikes.
Also, talking about the still suits, Sir Patrick Stewart said the still suit was the most uncomfortable costume he had ever worn. Yeah. Max von Sydow said the same thing, but they also both liked it because they loved the way their bodies looked in them.
Oh, yeah.
And, Patrick Stewart famously was very uncomfortable with his Starfleet uniform in the first couple of seasons of The Next Generation. They were made out of... I think it was spandex, and they stretched in the wrong direction and
made really him look wider.
Hurt your back.
Oh.
Because they wanted it to be form-fitting, but it was constantly pulling on your back.
Oh.
And so it
were they Were they a jumpsuit? They look like jumpsuits,
it was one piece,
right?
The first
one pieces are difficult.
The first and second season, but then they switched to a wool 2-piece.
Okay.
Which was
better.
I
could see one pieces are hard.
Yeah. So we'll wrap this up since Michelle has something better to do, I guess.
Other work.
So how many bags of popcorn do you give Dune? Oh. And a 1 to 5 scale?
I would give it 3.
3 bags of popcorn. Okay.
Yeah, I don't like. It's a good bad movie.
Yeah.
It's a good bad movie.
Okay. I'm gonna give it.
It's still a bad movie, so I wouldn't give it 4.
Yeah.
Definitely not a 5. But yeah, good bad movie.
I'm gonna give it 5 bags of popcorn plus a little bottle of the water of life.
Oh,
so
nice! Look at you.
Free to drink.
Yeah.
So that's it for Dune. Thanks for tuning in to this episode.
Thanks for indulging us.
Of H2OMG's Drippy's Drive-In series, where we talk about movies that have a lot of water in them, or in this case, hardly any at all. But if you have any ideas for more water movies, let us know. We got just look for Fort Worth Water on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I'm pretty sure if you just type in Fort Worth Water, we'll pop up. We also have a YouTube, Fort Worth Water.
Yeah, find us there and try to maybe like under 2 hours. We keep doing these ridiculously long movies.
Oh yeah,
which is fine. I shouldn't be complaining, but it's kind of like, why are all the movies with water a crucial point somewhere ridiculously long?
Okay, Batman Begins was Jillian's idea, but Mutiny on the Bounty was my fault. So
okay, yeah,
bigger offender than Batman. Anyway, thanks guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time on H2OMG's Drippy's Drive-In. Bye. Getting a call from the Garland County Library. Let's answer. Hello, you're live on the air with H2OMG's Drippy's Drive-In.
OMG, I'm so excited.
Who do we have on the line here?
Aaron Baber.
Brent Carroll.
All right.
Are we echoing? I'm sorry, we're in a meeting room.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
No, that's okay. Can you hear us okay? I'm here with...
Yeah.
This is, of course, your host, John Michael Perkins, and I'm here with...
Michelle Birmingham.
And we just started talking about Dune. We're just getting into the synopsis, but we want to hear your opinions about it.
Well, first of all, it's no solar baby.
Yeah. In that we mean that it's completely better than Solar Baby.
So let me just catch Michelle up real quick. Aaron is a big fan of the movie Solar Babies.
Oh.
And Brent...
you remember that blockbuster?
I was going to say, I've never heard of it. I will try to check it out.
Just real quick, it's about some babies in the future who roller skate around. Okay. That's all I remember.
That's pretty much it right there.
Yeah. So kind of like this.
But so Aaron has told me that there's that water scarcity plays a big part in that movie, so maybe we'll cover that. Because we only cover bad movies on this podcast, I guess. And
wonderful.
Yeah, so we might get around to Solar Babies.
So you guys talking about the original Dune, or like Jodorowsky's Dune, or the new remake, or?
We're just talking about good old 1984's David Lynch's Dune flop.
Oh.
Well, I grew up with him. My dad was a huge sci-fi just nerd. That's why I like Solar Babies, because he had great taste. So I love the original Dune.
Yeah, I did too. Same here. My dad was into Star Trek and all of that. So
I love it too, but mainly just love the costumes and the sets.
I like Kyle MacLachlan's hair.
Yeah,
that's what I'm here for.
Yeah,
that is one of the best parts. But I mean, his hair always looks great, so that's not really tough.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Yeah. But do you have any opinions about or any thoughts about the water situation in Dune?
Ooh.
Well, I guess we should have assumed we were going to be talking about water.
Yeah. Well, and on that planet, I mean, it's only good for the spice on Arrakis.
Mm-hmm.
So they rarely talk about water on there.
Yeah, because
I mean, even the sandworms. I mean, they're sandworms; they're not ocean worms.
I think, I don't think it's ever rained on Dune, because he looks at that up in his little Dunepedia, and it says there's never been one drop of rain on Arrakis.
Is there supposed to be some sort of like prophecy with Paul bringing water with the Freeman?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, the last scene is it raining on him.
Yeah, but does that happen in the book? It's been a long time since I've read this.
Have you read the book, Brent?
Yeah, I have, and I'm trying to remember because he doesn't want his prophecy or whatever to get out of hand. And then at the I think there is, even in the book, I think it happens. And then that's like a sign that he's just stuck.
Oh, okay. So it does rain at the end in the book.
Yeah.
I think. So, wait, did we say where you guys are from?
Oh no, we're from the Garland County Library in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you guys probably have the book right there in front of you or on one of the shelves, right?
Well, we didn't think that far in advance.
I have my phone with me.
I tried to read the book this year. I've never read it before, and I started it, and I really liked it, and I borrowed it as like an ebook, and I could only get 2 weeks, and I was really digging it, and then the whole, it went back because it was been 2 weeks, and I'd read like 6%. And I really liked it, but it's one of those that I was like, I'm going to have to come back to this whenever I've got a little bit more patience and I'm not quite so distracted. And but I loved what I read, all 6%.
It's a daunting book to get into.
It is.
It really is. If you're not a sci-fi fan, it's almost game over.
Yeah, it's a long one. We had.
So go ahead.
Well, we just had a quick question for you guys since this came up a little bit earlier in our conversation, and I thought, well, we've got the library calling in. We can just ask them. We don't know what the word melange means. And we didn't look it up because we wanted to ask you guys. Oh, Michelle just looked it up.
I'm not going to cheat, and I'm going to say I have no idea.
I'm going to cheat.
Brent's cheating.
I'm going to cheat.
Okay, Brent's cheating.
Let's see. The spice melange.
What is this?
It's just a mixture.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I said I thought melange means medley, or I thought it meant a mixture, but that doesn't make any sense because it's only one spice. I mean, right? They don't mix it with paprika.
Yeah.
Right.
I only remember
it's not a
it
dry rub.
Now I just want a southern remake of Dune.
Too bad Jim Varney's dead. That would have been perfect.
You know what I mean, Cataract?
Oh man, we just started. We got through like Michelle's synopsis of the movie, which
was very short.
She hasn't read the books and she's seen this movie a few less times than me, but she did a great job of.
I got to the core of the three bullet point.
Yeah, because we mentioned how this movie's pretty obtuse, so it's I think you did a great job, but so we just got through that. We've got, I think we're going to talk for about an hour on Kyle MacLachlan's hair.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the still suits. I'm probably going to put in the audio of Max von Sydow talking about the still suits because he does a great job of explaining what they are.
Is there anything in real life that is like them? Do we know? Do y'all know? Just throwing this out. They're just so neat. Yeah. I don't know. Just... I mean,
I just hope they bring the suits back for the 2020 version. Like, same special effects and everything.
Yeah, like same, like rubber tire looking suits.
Yeah. I hope so.
Which, speaking of rubber tires, they burned a bunch of rubber tires to make the smoke for the battle scenes.
Oh, that's lovely.
They were in Mexico and they could get away with it. So
it was the 80s,
Yeah. That wasn't a problem.
Yeah. We can't look at our 2020 vision in 1984. All right.
What are they going to do in the 2020 version then?
Just burn styrofoam.
You got to get that thick black smoke. You got to burn something toxic, right? You can't just do it with computers. Well, can I just ask you guys, if you had to recast this movie, the 1984 version, and you couldn't use Kyle MacLachlan, who would you cast as Paul Atreides?
Why would you do that, John Michael? Anyways.
I don't know why the 2020 version isn't using him right now.
I know. He still looks great.
I will say this. They are using Timothy, is it Chalamet? I'm mispronouncing his last name. He also has great hair, so I have confidence in this movie because they kept that up. Just put
and the king is really good.
Detail.
But Michelle just showed me a picture of him, and I made a face like a cat being squirted with a spray.
He's got good hair.
Yeah,
I'm excited they're keeping that detail alive. Ooh, you think Sting will make another appearance?
He still looks great too. Everybody has aged well. Like even Patrick Stewart, he's still kicking. He still looks good.
Does he age? He looks the same.
You know who I get instead right now, and I don't know the actor's name, but he is the older friend in Stranger Things.
Oh, he does have great hair too.
Oh, he does have hair.
He would. That's my hair pick.
That's good.
Good choice.
You know, if I'm thinking like cast it with only people available in the 80s, right? And so I'm thinking the jerk guy that Molly Ringwald is in love with in not Pretty in Pink, but the other one, 16 Candles.
What?
No, Pretty in Pink. I mean Pretty in Pink.
I thought you were just going to leave it at the jerk, and I was like, I also think Steve Martin.
I was like, Steve Martin? That's what I thought, too. I was like, is this where we're going with this?
Well, like I was talking to Michelle earlier, there is no comic relief in this movie whatsoever. So if you've got Steve Martin walking around with a fake arrow through his head, that'd be perfect. He'd really lighten this up.
You know what? I'm gonna piggyback off your Brat Pack thing, and I think just go full force with it, like Corey Feldman, Molly Ringwald,
just go whole hog on the Brat Pack.
Yeah.
Maybe
sounds awful.
That sounds great.
What's his name? Judd Nelson.
Yes.
Could be the Baron Harkonnen.
Get BB out of retirement. Let's do it.
Any final thoughts about Dune?
I actually am. I love the 1984, but I'm really excited for the new one.
Who's directing the new one?
Oh, is it Villanueva?
I didn't even thought about that earlier, but I didn't know.
But the cast is looking pretty good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think 1984 Dune will always be the one. Villanueva is the new director.
That's the Blade Runner 2049 director. I like that. I like that movie.
Yeah,
it was fun.
But I'm also wary about updating 80s movies to today's time, to where I just hope that they keep it very original and not try to make any points.
Make statements.
I don't want to statement Dune.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about this version of Dune is the DIY aspect and how they actually built all those sets and everything, and you can tell. But this is all going to be CG, and it's just going to feel very.
It's going to be different.
I'm excited, but I'm just worried that it's going to feel sterile and I don't know, whatever.
Hopefully, and MacLachlan's not in I Riot.
Yeah,
I'm with you there.
In fact, bring back Patrick Stewart too.
Yeah, please.
Yes, they have to.
Still has the same hair.
Yeah, especially with the card coming out. You can get Patrick Stewart, Kylo.
There's some missed opportunities that they've already missed, I think. So, well. It was nice talking to you guys. As always, it's a pleasure.
And guys, nice meeting you. Yeah. And nice talking. Thank you for having us on. H2OMG. OMG.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.